Hi there, this is Lee from IELTS Master, and today we have a Band 7 Plus vocabulary lesson. This is Lesson 2, Climate Change. Now, climate change is a very popular topic for IELTS, so pay good attention to the words that we cover today and really try to learn them deeply. Before we get started with this lesson, let's talk about the structure of the vocabulary course. I believe that in order to really learn vocabulary, you need to know words in a deep, deep way. So, for each word that we present, we'll give you the definition, sometimes with notes, but always with example sentences. We'll give you collocations. This means words that often go together. And finally, we'll give you an action step to end each lesson, something you can do to help you remember the words. The words that we'll cover in this lesson are environmental, ecosystem, dispose, risk, and harm. You probably know some of these words, but remember, we want to learn the collocations, which words they go with together, to be able to use these words in a natural, high-level way. First, environmental. The definition of environmental is connected with the natural conditions in which people, animals, and plants live. Some related words are environment, environmentalist, environmentally, and environmentalism. Let's take a look at some example sentences. First, environmental issues like global warming are important policy points that politicians need to think about. And governments need to be more concerned with environmental protection. Now let's take a look at some collocations. First, we have environmental problems on the top right, environmental policy, environmental damage, it's kind of close to environmental problems, environmental protection, environmental issues, and environmental impact. These are all very high-frequency collocations. This means these are words that often go together. Next, ecosystem. The definition is all the plants and living creatures in a particular area considered in relation to their physical environment. This definition is a little bit difficult. So what does it mean? It means all of the things that are living, the plants, the animals, trees, related, and how they are connected to their physical environment, the ocean, the mountains, the plains, things like that. Some example sentences. First, global warming has the potential to destroy a number of irreplaceable ecosystems. What does irreplaceable mean? Well, we see the IR in the beginning. Ir. This means not. After that, we have replace and able. So irreplaceable is not able to replace. Ecosystems that we can't replace. Next, deep sea areas often have unique ecosystems and are home to a variety of fish. And finally, working to protect endangered species and their ecosystems is a critical step for keeping our world healthy and diverse. And some collocations for ecosystem. Marine ecosystem. Next, destroy an ecosystem. And finally, protect an ecosystem. Or to protect ecosystems, destroy ecosystems. The next word we have is dispose, or dispose of, more specifically. Now, dispose has many different meanings, but we're going to choose one of the meanings, and this meaning of dispose usually collocates or comes together with of. The definition of dispose of is to get rid of somebody or something that you do not want or cannot keep. And related words include disposal. For example, disposing of garbage in an environmentally friendly way is important for combating global warming. What does combating mean? Do you know the word combat? Well, combating, combat, fight, fighting global warming, combating global warming. This might be a nice word to remember too. Also, because disposing of radioactive nuclear waste can be dangerous, it may not be ideal as a safe alternative energy source. Let's look at some collocations for dispose of. First, we have dispose of. Of comes together with dispose. Make sure you use them together. Next, dispose of waste. Very, very common. And finally, changing dispose into disposal, we have waste disposal. And of course, if you want to say nuclear waste disposal or some other kind of waste disposal, you can do that too. Next word, risk. The definition of risk is the possibility of something bad happening at some time in the future. Just look at this guy up on the top right with his chainsaw. There's a big risk here, right? Something bad may happen in the future. He's going to cut the branch and then fall down. Bad idea. Don't do that. Some example sentences. The risk that some politicians take when they deny global warming could have large consequences for our planet's future. What are consequences? Consequences are bad things that can happen. Okay? And why are we underlining take? Well, that's because risk and take go together. They collocate. They're a collocation. So we want to keep them together, so we've underlined and highlighted take as well as risk. Next example sentence. The more pollution we create, the larger the risk of lasting consequences becomes. This is an interesting sentence structure, but focusing on the vocabulary, we use consequences again, so consequences and risk seem to come together very often, especially when we're talking about global warming. And finally, not all chemicals pose a risk to human health, but some do. And collocations, risk. Starting on the top right, take a risk. Next one, to be at risk or to put at risk. If something is at risk, this is the same as in danger. So an animal, maybe an animal is close to extinction. That means there might not be any more of these animals soon. This animal is at risk. Next, increase or reduce the risk of. This is popular with smoking. To reduce the risk of lung cancer, please do not smoke. To minimize risk is similar. To minimize means to make as small as possible, to reduce as much as you can. Next one, run the risk of. To run the risk of means you're taking a chance that something bad could happen. To take a chance that something bad could happen or to create a risk. For example, if we continue to pollute, we run the risk of destroying our global ecosystems. And finally, high risk. Now we have high risk, low risk. One expression with high risk is high risk, high reward. This could be like gambling. It's high risk, you put a lot of money, but it's high reward. If you win, you get more back. Next, harm, the last word for this lesson. Damage or injury that is caused by a person or an event, or to cause damage. Now this can be a noun or a verb. For example, many countries are choosing to improve their economy even if they harm the environment. Harming the environment through using private cars rather than public transport just increases the rate of global warming. Do you understand these example sentences? If not, just let me know down in the comments. So let's look at the collocations we have left for harm. First, harm the environment. Second, to cause harm to. And last, to do harm. This is all we have for this lesson. Please try your best to remember these global warming words so that you can use them on your IELTS test. So your action step this lesson is to use each word that we covered to write 2 sentences and post your sentences in the comments below. Be sure to use the collocations we introduced whenever you can. Now remember, collocation means words that often go together. Good luck! Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. For more IELTS practice, visit IELTSmaster.com and join our email list for a free Task 2 ebook. You can also connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/IELTSmaster site. Finally, subscribe to our YouTube channel below and let us know, what would you like to see next? Just type it in the comments and you never know, that may be the next video. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.